If you're over 60 and you shop at Walmart, Target, or any big store, please stop what you're doing and listen to me right now. This is how Miss Wilson got scammed at the very place we think is safe, at Walmart, so easily, so quickly. It happened to her, and it could happen to you. What I'm about to tell you isn't just a story, it's a warning. Because these scammers are targeting seniors just like us in places you trust, using tricks that are so sophisticated you won't see them coming. Miss Wilson lost $300 in 5 minutes. 5 minutes! At Walmart, surrounded by other shoppers, talking to someone who looked exactly like a store manager. If it can happen to her, it can happen to anyone. Mom, if you're watching this, Grandma, if your daughter shared this with you, please don't turn this off. What happened to Miss Wilson is happening to seniors across this country every single day. Smart and careful seniors. People who raised families and managed households and survived everything life threw at them. But these scammers, they're different now. They're professionals. They study us. They know exactly what to say, exactly how to make us trust them. And they're targeting us because they think we're easy marks. I'm going to tell you exactly how they got Miss Wilson. Every word they said, every trick they used, every warning sign that seemed so innocent in the moment. Because when you're standing in that situation, when someone is looking you right in the eye and sounds so convincing, it doesn't feel like a scam. It feels real. Chapter 1. The Setup. It was a Thursday afternoon in February. I was doing my usual shopping at Walmart when a woman approached me near the pharmacy. She was well-dressed, probably in her 50s, wearing what looked like a Walmart vest over a nice blouse. She carried herself with confidence and had that friendly but professional manner you'd expect from a store manager. "Excuse me, ma'am," she said with a warm, professional smile. "I'm Jennifer, the customer experience manager here at Walmart. I hope you're finding everything you need today." "Oh, yes, thank you," I replied, always polite to store employees. "Wonderful. Actually, I was hoping I might run into you. You're one of our loyal pharmacy customers, and we have something very special available today." She smiled warmly. "We're partnering with major retailers to offer premium reward cards to our most valued customers." She explained that these weren't regular gift cards. These were special credit cards that came preloaded with bonus money, but they could only offer them to a very limited number of customers each day. "Here's how it works," Jennifer explained, pulling out what looked like a sophisticated credit card from her pocket. It was black with silver lettering, very official looking. "This card has $300 in credit already loaded on it, plus an additional $500 bonus credit that activates the first time you use it. So when you spend that first $300, you'll actually have $800 worth of purchasing power." She held the card up so I could see it. It looked legitimate. It had a chip, it had Walmart's logo, and appeared to be a real credit card. "The thing is," she continued, "corporate only allows us to distribute 5 of these cards per day, and I've already given out 3. I noticed you're a regular pharmacy customer, I see you here often, and I wanted to make sure one of our loyal customers got this opportunity, rather than letting it go to someone who just happened to walk by." "It sounds too good to be true," I said, though I was definitely interested. "I understand that feeling," she laughed, "but think of it like a store credit card, except instead of you applying and waiting for approval, we're offering it to you directly. The $300 covers the cost of the preloaded credits, which is $300, and the bonus, which is $500. The way she explained it made sense. I was getting $800 worth of credit for $300. Even with the fee, I was coming out ahead. "The card works not only at Walmart, but also at our partner stores. I have a list right here of which ones qualify." She handed me a piece of paper with a list of stores. Target, Best Buy, Home Depot, Amazon. All stores I recognized, all stores I shopped at regularly. I looked at the card. It was impressive, professional looking with clean design and official branding. "How did you know I was a pharmacy customer?" I asked. "Oh, I work closely with all our departments. I notice our regular customers, especially the ones who've been with us for years. You're always so pleasant with our pharmacy staff." That felt good to hear. I do try to be kind to the people who help me. "What would I need to do?" I asked. "It's simple. You pay $300 and the card is yours immediately. Think of it like putting money into a savings account that immediately earns you a bonus. You can pay cash, or if you prefer, I can take your credit card information and process it securely through our system." She showed me an official-looking form with spaces for credit card number, expiration date, and security code. "I actually have cash with me," I said. I'd just been to the bank and had withdrawn $400 for my weekly expenses. "Even better," Jennifer smiled. "Cash transactions are faster and more secure." I stood there in that pharmacy area, looking at this premium credit card, thinking about how I could use $800 worth of credit. My car registration was due, and I needed new tires. This could cover both of those expenses and more. "Okay," I said. "Let's do it." I reached into my purse and pulled out 3 $100 bills. Jennifer took them with a professional smile and handed me the card, along with what looked like activation instructions. "Just try to use the card within 48 hours, she said. "That's when the bonus credit will activate. After that, you'll have the full $800 available." I put the card in my wallet, feeling pretty good about the transaction. I'd just solved several upcoming expenses with one smart purchase. It wasn't until the next day I tried to use the card at Target that I realized something was wrong. The card was declined. I called the customer service number on the back of the card, but it was disconnected. I looked more closely at the card. The Walmart logo was slightly off. The colors weren't quite right. The chip looked real, but when I felt it, it seemed to be just glued on. I had been scammed out of $300 by a fake credit card and a very convincing performance. When I went back to Walmart the next day to report what had happened, the real store manager told me something that made my blood run cold. "Ma'am, we've had 3 other customers report the exact same scam this week. The scammers are getting very sophisticated. They research our customers, they make fake cards, and they know details about shopping patterns that make them seem legitimate." He explained that they had prepared for weeks to make that scam as convincing as possible. "The worst part," he said, "is that there's almost no way to recover that money. Cash transactions are untraceable. We're working with police, but these criminals are usually long gone before anyone realizes they've been scammed." I felt foolish, angry, and violated. They had observed my shopping patterns to seem credible. They had created convincing fake materials, and they had taken $300 that I couldn't afford to lose. But more than anything, I felt determined that it would never happen again. Chapter 2. Understanding the psychology. Looking back at what happened to me, I can see exactly how they manipulated my psychology. And understanding these techniques is crucial because they use the same playbook over and over again. They research their targets. This wasn't a random encounter. They had studied me. They knew I was a regular pharmacy customer. Some of these scammers will watch the same store for weeks, learning patterns, identifying regular customers, even following people to their cars to get license plate numbers that they can use to look up personal information online. They use authority and social proof. Jennifer dressed like a manager. She carried professional-looking materials. She spoke with confidence and used retail terminology that sounded legitimate. She even created fake social proof by showing me that tablet with other customers' names on it, making me feel like I was joining something exclusive rather than being singled out. They create false scarcity and urgency. "We're almost out. Only 50 customers selected. Limited time offer." They want you to feel like you need to decide quickly before you have time to think it through or talk to someone else about it. They use the commitment principle. Once I agreed to the transaction, I was psychologically invested. I had already said yes, I had already pulled out my money. At that point, backing out would have felt awkward and rude. They know that people don't like to change their minds once they've committed to something. They appeal to your desire for a good deal. $800 in credit for $300 in cash. That's a compelling offer. But here's the thing. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Real businesses don't give away money, they make money. They use your own politeness against you. They count on us being too polite to ask hard questions, too embarrassed to seem suspicious, too trusting to verify their claims. Our good manners become their greatest weapon. The common thread in all scams, whether it's fake credit cards, gift card scams, or any of the other cons targeting seniors, they all follow the same basic formula. Research the target, establish false authority, create urgency, appeal to greed or fear, and exploit our natural tendency to trust and comply. The scammers have studied us as a demographic. They know that women of our generation are more likely to answer phone calls from strangers, more likely to trust people in authority, and more likely to feel embarrassed about questioning someone who seems to know what they're talking about. But here's what they don't count on: our wisdom, our life experience, our ability to learn and adapt. Once we understand their techniques, we can see them coming from a mile away. Chapter 3. Expert Advice in Real-World Protection. The detective from the Financial Crimes Unit here in California told me something that surprised me. She said that seniors who report attempted scams, the people who recognize the warning signs and don't fall for them, are actually helping to protect other seniors, even if they don't realize it. Every report we get helps us track these criminal organizations, she explained. We can see patterns, identify phone numbers they're using, and sometimes we can even shut down their operations. But she also mentioned about the cases that keep her up at night, the victims who lose thousands of dollars and are too embarrassed to report it. The shame is the worst part, she said. These are intelligent people who raised families, ran businesses, survived the Depression, but they feel foolish for falling for a scam, so they suffer in silence. That silence helps the scammers more than anything else. Here are 5 specific pieces of advice that I want to share with you. First, create a pause rule. Anytime someone contacts you asking for money, personal information, or immediate action, tell them you'll call them back in 24 hours. Real legitimate requests can wait. Scams always involve urgency. Second, verify independently. Never use contact information provided by the person who contacted you. If Medicare calls, hang up and call Medicare directly using the number on your Medicare card. If your grandchild calls asking for help, call them back at their regular number. Third, never pay with gift cards, wire transfers, or cryptocurrency. These payment methods are almost impossible to reverse. Real companies and government agencies don't accept these forms of payment. Fourth, trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. That little voice in your head that's telling you something isn't right, listen to it. It's better to be overly cautious than to become a victim. Fifth, build a support network. Have a trusted friend or family member who you can call when you're unsure about something. Sometimes just talking through the situation with someone else helps you see the red flags more clearly. Chapter 4. Healing and Moving Forward. I want to take a moment to speak directly to anyone listening who has been the victim of a scam. First, please know that it is not your fault. These criminals are professionals. They study human psychology. They practice their techniques on hundreds of victims. The fact that they were able to deceive you doesn't say anything about your intelligence or your worth as a person. What happened to you could happen to anyone. In fact, it probably has happened to someone you know who just hasn't talked about it yet. I think about that day at Walmart often. I think about how easily I could have been standing in that parking lot, realizing I'd just handed over $200 to a stranger. I think about the shame I would have felt, the anger at myself, the fear about what other financial mistakes I might make. But I also think about the power I felt when I asked that cashier if she knew about the loyalty program. The moment I decided to verify instead of trusting blindly. The relief when I realized I had protected myself. That's the feeling I want all of us to have, the confidence that comes from being informed and prepared. If you have been scammed, please report it. Call your local police. Contact the Federal Trade Commission at reportfraud.ftc.gov. File a report with the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. Your report might not get your money back, but it could prevent the next person from becoming a victim. And please, tell someone you trust about what happened. The shame and isolation that follow being scammed are often worse than the financial loss. You need and deserve support. Remember that surviving a scam attempt, whether you fell for it or caught it in time, makes you wiser and more prepared for the next one. Share your experience with other women your age. We protect each other by talking about these things openly. I want to leave you with this thought. The same qualities that make us attractive targets for scammers, our kindness, our trust, our willingness to help others, are also our greatest strengths. We don't need to become cynical or suspicious of everyone. We just need to be smarter about when and how we extend our trust. We've survived so much in our lives. We've raised families during difficult times. We've managed household budgets through recessions. We've adapted to new technologies and changing worlds. We are stronger and more resilient than these criminals give us credit for. They see us as easy targets. But we're not easy. We're just kind. And there's a big difference. Stay vigilant, trust your instincts, ask questions. And remember that saying no to a scammer isn't rude, it's smart. You've got this, we've got this. Together, we can protect ourselves and each other. Chapter 5. Call to Action. Our family will save this. Mom, if you're watching this, I love you and I need you to stay safe. Grandma, if your family shared this with you, they shared it because they care about you. Please share this video with everyone in your life who needs to hear it. Your family, your neighbor, and your friends. Don't let anyone you love fall for these scams. And if you found this helpful, please subscribe to our channel. We're here to keep you and your family and friends safe by sharing the latest scam warnings, safety tips, and protection strategies that really work. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an important warning that could protect you or someone you love. Stay safe, stay strong, and remember, you are never alone.